Hi everyone, welcome. I am Kim Beegler, owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I am here at the mill in Halsey, Oregon, ready to talk to you about my first knitting retreat. I went on the Fruity Knitting Pura Vida Costa Rica knitting retreat, and we're back. We got back a couple of days ago, and I just wanted to share some of my experiences and some of the stuff we worked on. I did just do an audio podcast that was kind of reflecting on the trip and some of the things that happened that were unexpected and wonderful. So head over there for a little bit deeper into just thoughts and how the retreat went. Here, I'm gonna share more of the making part of it and some other things too, right? So welcome, welcome. If you are new, I own a wool mill. We are farmers, commercial, and we have a flock of animals. So we do a lot of everything here. And I have a Patreon page. So if you enjoy what I'm doing here, please head over there, subscribe, and become a part of that community. I do generally do tons of wool mill videos and hand spinning and things like that. For this episode, it's a little different. It'll be a little bit heavier in talking about the retreat and some other making stuff, but still fun, I hope. But don't worry, there's plenty of wool in all the other episodes. So, and there's wool in this one too. You can also head to my website to get on my newsletter. I am no longer posting on Instagram or Facebook because of all the reasons, my mental health being one of them also. But so the newsletter is a great way to find me if you're not here or on Patreon. Okay, let's get started. So Fruity Knitting, in case you have not watched their YouTube channel, please go find it now. I mean, maybe come back or wait till this is over and then go. I'll put a link to them in the show notes, but it is a mother and daughter team, Andrea and Madeleine, and they are phenomenal. They have been on YouTube for years. Their sole source of income is their YouTube channel. So once a month, they put out an 1.5-hour episode that is thoughtful, mindful, beautifully produced. And this is what supports them, is people going on to Patreon and pledging and supporting them month after month, right? Patreon serves many purposes for many of us makers, and for them, it is their sole source of income. So check them out because they do amazing videos, talk wonderful and deep about knitting, and have great guest interviews on there. Okay, off the high horse, right? So we went on this knitting retreat. We basically ended up taking 10 days to go because the travel time is a little bit much for us to get to Portland, fly out of Portland, get to San Jose, then you take a shuttle, all these things. So and then getting back was going backwards. So it was a lot. We have not ever left the country together since we've been together, which has been quite a long time. We haven't taken a real vacation since 2016, the year we got married. So it was long overdue. It was a lot to prepare for, to leave all of the businesses that we have and the animals and all that. We have a wonderful farm sitter. Thank you, Alana, who did a great job. We came back and everything was beautiful. And I didn't worry the whole time about the animals, which is amazing. I had a hard time walking out the door, but once we did, I'm gonna make sure my microphone's good. Okay, so we got there a day early. The retreat started in the evening one evening. It was wonderful. We got to meet Andrea and Madeleine, and Claudia Quintanilla was there as well. She was teaching the workshops, a majority of the workshops she did at the retreat. Lots of embroidery, which I'm going to show you stuff. And if you're a knitter and you're like, ugh, trust me, it's exciting and fun. So don't get too worried that this is going to detract from your knitting. Plus, you're watching and knitting, so it's okay. So we did embroidery workshops. There was a jungle tour. We just did lots of stuff. There were 2 knitting workshops and lots of great food. Lots of people from all over came to this knitting retreat. So meeting all the different people was phenomenal. We made some longtime friends, and we were lucky enough that there were a lot of non-knitting partners in our group. So Mitch became fast friends with some of the guys. One day they all went out to a waterfall. Hans had a car, so they all went out together. And anyway, it was a fast friendship from there forward, although it had already started. So if you're watching, Axel and Tracy, hello, and Dolores and Hans, hello. Both of them got to stay in Costa Rica for an extra week. So But I hope to see so many people from the retreat again. Everybody in our knitting group was phenomenal. And I like to say, Andrea, you attract phenomenal people. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things we did. And then at the end, I was going to share some clips. I didn't honestly take a ton of videos and pictures because this weird thing happens when you get off social media every day. You realize you don't have to take a picture of everything. And it's kind of nice, you all. I'm not going to lie. So a lot of the trip, we were just like living, laughing, and enjoying and not stopping to take pictures of everything. But I did get some videos, and I know some pictures are coming our way. So maybe in the next episode, I'll throw a few more in from the jungle tour. But I just thought I'd throw some in, and I'll put little captions at the bottom. I'm not going to go through them all now, but when they're playing, I'll run through it. I'll put some captions up, so you may have to pop up from your knitting or whatever it is you're spinning, whatever it is you're doing, to see what the heck the video is about. But it was a phenomenal trip, and I just wanted to share some of my favorite moments that apparently were worthy of me pulling my camera out. Although one time we were walking back, and some of the smaller, I cannot remember the name of them, but the smaller brown monkeys were like right there. And my camera was in our bag and I couldn't get it fast enough. And that little monkey was like right there, but that's okay. I have the memory. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through an order of what we did. If for some reason you are still going on the retreat, I wouldn't watch anymore because you want it to all be newer and fresher. I'm not gonna go in depth. I'm not gonna show like the gifts and things like that we got maybe another day. And I have mill day this weekend, Saturday the 15th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you are local, come. And I'll have all this stuff here and you can check it out. And obviously I will be talking about it because I may be talking about this trip for a long time. Mitch and I can't stop talking about it because we both had one of the best times. So, okay, let me show you the first thing. So Claudia sent sweaters in advance, sweater patterns, and said, if you want to knit them, great. If you don't, make swatches. So the first workshop we did was embroidering on your knitting. And this is directly embroidering on your knitting. I did knit another sweater, which is done, and I will show you all, but that one is different because that was all mohair, and this is 100% wool. And so this was, you're able to embroider directly straight onto your knitting. So I'm going to show you. Okay, I talk about this in the audio episode, but embroidery, man, you guys, it's another craft, and I know it's like another thing that could take away from the thing that you love, but you know what? Who cares? Life is short, so do all the things. I picked this up last night because we did a lot of testing on other stuff. So I knit, I'll show you the back, this swatch. This is Lanny's Lana yarn out of California. It's epic, and I have enough to do a sweater, so I am hoping to do a sweater out of it soon enough. I don't buy yarn a lot anymore because I hand spin, but it's really nice. So I did a big swatch, and here is the embroidery that I have started. So on this, it's actually pretty easy, and you can do anything. Claudia, and I didn't bring her book, but Claudia has a book out called Memory Lane, and all of it, not all of it, but a lot of it is embellishments, embroidery, beading, different things. It's gorgeous, truly inspiring. And I do have a video where I walk through all the sweaters that she brought to show us, and I think they're all from the book. Even just like a little snippet of one thing that she does, like a lot of time on some of the sweaters, she would just add like a little bit of like a tulle lace trim or something on the edge. And it was like, oh my gosh, that's so simple and such an easy way to like step up something that you've already knit or crocheted. So anyway, here we are. And I'm not sure if, I think you can see that there's a little tracing on this paper, and I forget the name of the paper, but once you put this into water, the paper will dissolve away. So you're able to trace your pattern. So you could come up with any pattern. Somebody sitting next to me, we said she's such a rebel. She came in with something she wanted to make that she had found on the trip. So she drew a picture, then etched it onto here and was embroidering that. But basically you sketch out your drawing on this paper, then you attach it to, and I think you can see there's a little bit of sewing along the edges here just to keep everything in place, very lightly done. And then you put it on your embroidery hoop and off you run with embroidering. And in this case, I don't know, I don't think I brought what I am using, but I can show you, because just to sass it up even more, I'm using actually 3 strands here. So there is a strand of, which you may not be able to see, it's so thin. excuse me. But it's like a gold metallic. There you go. Then there is a strand of mohair in here, mohair yarn, like lace weight yarn. And then there is a strand of actual thread. So I'm holding all three of those together while embroidering this. And the gold just adds like an extra pop on it. But you can see it's really easy. Like this is just 2 stitches of embroidery. And I have not embroidered before. Like my aunt showed me a little bit of stuff. I don't remember a single thing. I just remember her showing it to us, but so cool. So what I'm going to do with this is embroider it, and then I'm going to turn this into a pillow. That was one of their ideas for doing a big swatch. You can practice on it and then head to a sweater and go from there. But honestly, it's not hard. It's really easy. I did this last night in the last little bit that I was sitting in my crafting chair thinking like, oh, I should go downstairs and go to bed. I'm still kind of catching up on life again. And then I was like, let me just embroider for a few minutes. Okay. We all know how that goes. Okay. One of the other classes was embroidering for putting onto something like this sweater that I'm going to show you. Sweater. It's the top. Okay. So this is the Luna de Plata. This is Claudia's one of Claudia's designs that she sent. It is in a long sleeve. I modified it and did it in a short sleeve. Bam. So I did it in a short sleeve. All I did was, so this pattern was fun. The sleeves are short rows. So you do short rows all along the top. And actually I did short rows. You do short rows through almost the whole sleeve. And then I just knit 3 more rounds and bound off. And that was all that it needed to do. And they're the perfect length sleeves. I do not have a picture because it's epically cold and I can't wear anything that I'm showing you all, but here it is. So this is just 100% like the lace. I don't even have the yarn. I mean, sorry you all, I'm so unprepared, I suppose, somewhat. I mean, I'm here and I've got some stuff, but you can see it's see-through. So I'll wear a little tank top underneath. I did it short sleeve because I thought I'm more apt to wear this in the Pacific Northwest, like on a summer evening or a summer day than wearing something long sleeve that won't be warm enough. So I thought this on a summer evening or a spring evening with a tank top underneath is going to be gorgeous. Now, my plan was in the pattern, she has the embroidery at the bottom of the sleeves. And I thought, well, I'm doing short sleeves, so that's not an option. Also, will everybody see the sleeves that way? So I've decided that I'll do my embroidery basically right here. And for this one, and of course you can do whatever embroidery you want because you can come up with a pattern, you can stencil it out and then start embroidering. Because this is a mohair silk, it doesn't work to do the embroidery straight onto that fabric. So instead we were doing it, and actually I talk about this in the Fruity Knitting podcast. I'm not sure if they'll get one out in March. They were a little bit like, because they're there for a couple more weeks, but hopefully in the next one, Mitch and I did a quick little interview and hopefully we'll be in there and I'll be talking about this, but among other things, you can see that there's the outline of a moon and we're using a metallic silver is what, for the color of sweater that I had. So this would be, the embroidery is a moon. So this will all get filled in with this silver. And also there were stars and other things that you could kind of put around it wherever you want, because that's the joy of all of these things, right? It's yours. Do what you want. For this, you actually have some tulle underneath. So this is like the stabilizer to keep everything in place. And then you have got the same thing. There's a tracing of the moon. I'm not sure if you can see. I think you can see a little bit there. Let me put it up so you can see. I haven't gotten very far on this one. But there's the rest of it. So what you would do is finish your embroidery on here, then cut as close as you can to the edge of the moon with the tulle on there, because it's kind of the whole thing, keeping everything in place. And then, of course, your white just disappears when you rinse it, so that's fine. You would just sew on this little moon onto the sweater. So because it's on the tulle, it's got something it's attached to already, then you sew that onto the sweater. But it's actually so easy, right? Of course you can get as complicated as you want or do as much embroidery as you want, but it's really not that hard. So that was really exciting to realize, like, okay, this is doable and fun. You all, embroidery, I'm sure lots of you have embroidered before, but there's something about it that has got me a little bit. Okay, so let me talk about one of the other. Here's some knitting. We got gifted as part of this the yarn and stuff for a new sweater that Claudia has out. So, and it is a mosaic pattern for part of it. Around the yoke, there's mosaic. So we did a workshop on mosaic. And this is my little sample. I have not blocked it, but you can see we just took yarn. It wasn't the same yarn that you would use for the sweater, but it was just to practice mosaic knitting. So there it is. And mosaic knitting, all it is, so simple if you haven't done it or been intimidated by it. Simple, simple, simple. It is just like working back and forth in different colors. And you can see you're basically just slipping the color below. So like you're doing 2 rows of yellow and then 2 rows of green. And as you slip stitches, that color comes up. It gets carried up into the next row. So it's really easy. You can see this is the beginning. This is the pattern for it. And this is just in the yoke of the sweater. But the colors that we got, everybody got different colors depending on what they wanted. Mine is a white with a light blue because that's my jam. So that was really fun and a good reminder. I don't know if I've actually knit a mosaic thing. In my head, maybe I have, but it was a great reminder that this is not hard. Everybody can do mosaic. If you can knit, you can do mosaic. I'm gonna just cut off to something else I finished, which I also can't wear for you all, but this is, okay, there's 2 ends that still need, I'm gonna tuck those in. 2 ends that still, you'll see them, darn it. Okay. Here it is, you all, another finished item. So I actually finished this in Costa Rica and I blocked the bottom so that it was laying flat and not curled up, which, yeah, it's a little bit, probably could use a good washing. But this is my very first handspun cotton finished project. So it's this little tank top camisole. Yet again, I can't remember the name of it, but I will put it in the show notes and I'll try to remember to put it down here in some caption. I love it. Here it is. It fits beautifully. It's not the type of camisole that I would wear it around the house without a bra and something like that. I don't know that I would wear it out in public, but wearing it, you know, if you have a little tank top or a bralette or your bathing suit, it's perfect for that. It's a little bit, I actually really like it. I don't have, you know, I'm not that chesty, so it's easier for me to wear things without a lot of coverage, the perk there. But I really love how it turned out. And funny story, of course, I was like determined that I would finish this on the trip so that I could wear it. And I finished the I-cords. The first I-cord, I went to go attach it like in the room between, literally, like Mitch was at the waterfall trip. I was getting ready to go to the next workshop and I thought, oh, I've got like a half hour before lunch. I'm just gonna attach this I-cord, 3 stitches to 3 stitches in Kitchener stitch. That should take all of 4 minutes. Well, that's true. Unless what you do is you take this one and you attach it to the other front one when they're supposed to be attached to the back. So that was funny. And I wove in the ends even because I'm an overachiever. So I had enough time to pull it all out and then go to lunch and then tell everybody what a dork I am. So anyway, it got dried off while we were in the pool at the resort and it's ready to go for the summer. I ended up not having a good time to wear it, but I could have worn it. So, because I finished it pretty late in the trip, but it's done. What else can I show you? I think only 2 other things as far as things we were working on. So this really got me. Okay, this all really got me, and I am really surprised that I enjoyed all of it so much. But this is kind of my new obsession, I think. And it has like a different, like I have it in a different place. Like when we're in the kitchen, just talking in the evening, because Mitch and I tend to get home and we'll sit and talk for a while, just about our day or, you know, the F is going on in the world. Excuse me. And so this is Sashiko embroidery. So this has a pattern on it. You can see those little dots that are all like lines and dots. Here's where I have actually embroidered. So you can see how much darker it is. And you're just following the lines, literally. Like where there's a white line, you embroider. Where there's a, you know, no line, that's when you're underneath. So you're just under, up, under, up, under, up. Holy cow. This is like, Claudia talked about how this is a hobby. Like a lot of like women will get together and do this together because it's so easy to chit chat and not mess up. And it's true. this is like when you're beyond being able to think, when you're knitting or spinning or anything like that, this is like next level. How I would love to end every single day. Just knit, just embroider a little bit of this. And this is actually a kit that she got us, and it's folded in half. So what I plan to do when I'm done with this is probably make it into a pillow also. And then I'll have all these great retreat pillows, which I love. The little accents around the house. You can get all different patterns of this. I can't believe how much I love it. Okay, last thing to show you. Are you exhausted yet? Because this was a lot to take in. It was a lot of, oh my gosh, I had to make sure my microphone was working. That would be devastating. So the last workshop, and I should say Claudia was fabulous. She is so passionate about all the things that she makes. There's a story behind everything. She's very passionate about community and caring for each other, and it was really fun. And like I said, all of her designs have a story behind them, and she really encouraged us to dive into those stories and filter them into our making, which was great. Okay, last thing was the class that Andrea took, and it was kind of a last minute, here's the class I'm gonna teach. And if you've watched her episodes fairly recently, she did an Afterthought smocking. And I was pretty intrigued. So when she said she was doing this in the workshop for the retreat, I was pretty pumped. So we had to knit a little swatch. And by the way, the other swatch I did for the mosaic knitting, both that and this are yarn. I just, we were just taking small amounts to knit these swatches. And so I pulled out old Ewethful yarn, which was exciting to use again from when I actually was spinning wool here at the mill. So I got to pull out some yarns that just little bits. So see, it works to save those little bits. You never know when you're gonna be on a retreat and you need to swatch all these different swatches. But it was really fun to work with some of these yarns that I haven't worked with in a while. And I have more that's just stashed away. It's like gold to me because I spun it here at the mill. And I don't do that anymore. So it was fun to use. So we had to knit this little swatch that was just a 2x2 rib. And you can see the blue in there, and that's where we did the smocking. So smocking is you actually are just kind of going over, under. You run a line of, well, this is my line. For me, I use this big thick yarn so you could really see, but you can use whatever it is you're gonna smock with. You could use a mohair to really make the smocking kind of an extra embellishment on top of what it is. But what it does, you can see the top is where I have not done any smocking. The bottom is where there's smocking, and it pulls the fabric in. So it adds design, which you'll see in a minute because you can't really see it that well now, but I'll show you in a minute. It also is a way of pulling in, sort of creating elastic where there is no elastic, right? I believe that's kind of how smocking started. And so one way you could use this, besides Andrea did a sweater, and you could go watch where she did an Afterthought smock on the bottom of a sweater that was just kind of a plain sweater, and then it added, it's gorgeous. You could also, some of the ideas she had were like, if your cuffs are getting too loose on a sweater and you can't get them to go back in, or my idea was, that hat that you knit that's a little too big. Not that we've ever done that, because who swatches for their hat? But you could go in and do smocking on some of that ribbing in there, and it would really pull it in. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the magic, because when I was doing it in the class, I was like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Maybe my yarn's too thick, maybe. But I'll show you what happens when can you see? Pretend like the blue is not blue in real life. It could be like a pink mohair or something. But I think you can see how the design really pops out. Hopefully you can see how it really shows up what the smocking can do to the fabric. Besides pulling it in, it kind of creates these waves, and I'm hoping you can see. I'll look at the video after, and if not, I'll lay it down on something flat so you can see. But it just creates these waves, so it creates a pattern in what was otherwise a less patterned fabric. And it also does a little bit of shaping. So it does shaping, it adds some embellishment, it adds some flair, and it can fix some things too. So I'm really excited about this, and it was not hard. It was kind of one of those things that you had to wrap your head around a little bit and stare at, and then some of it's going to play with. So I'm glad we were doing it on a little swatch, but I really liked it. And of course mine, anyway. That was all packed into 3 days. So you can imagine that all of our brains were a little like, woo, that's a lot of stuff. And everybody was kind of doing different things. at the retreat. Usually by the end of the day, we were all like, let's have dinner and like get revived again. So it was fantastic. And there was lots of pool time, lots of beach time, cool animals, a lot of raccoons. I didn't anticipate the raccoons. But if you've ever gone to Hawaii, you know that like there's cats. The cats will kind of be wandering through restaurants and things. And most of the time you're eating outside and animals are kind of wandering through cats. Well, in Costa Rica, they were like, raccoons are basically like cats here. They just kind of wander through at night. They're not like that here. So that took some adjusting, and they look different. But there was such amazing, at the resort, there was a sloth and a baby, and her baby were up in some trees in an almond tree on the property. So you could see them, catch them at different glimpses throughout the day. We saw macaw up in the trees. I've got some videos of that. We just saw a lot of pretty amazing animals. The monkeys, oh, those monkeys, man. Anyway, for an animal lover, it was really cool to see. And a kitten. I mean, I was excited just to see a kitten, so it doesn't take much. So anyway, let's cut to the videos. I'll show you, like I said, it's not long. There's just little clips, little minute clips here and there. Maybe some are even less if I was able to like catch a monkey just like running along or something like that. But I hope you enjoy. And of course, when Fruity Knittings comes out, that is the place to go to see amazing videos and footage of the trip, because they will do a beautiful job of it. So wait for that. And until then, I'll see you all in a minute. Okay, everyone, I thought I would just talk through this for just as we were going through videos. So this is Crocodile Bridge. This was right after we started towards the resort. And I did look up, so alligators tend to weigh roughly 500 pounds. Crocodiles can be upwards of 1,000 pounds. And some of these suckers were 1,000 pounds.
Holding my phone.
Okay, monkeys. What else can I say? Monkeys. These are the trouble monkeys. Oh my goodness.
No, madre, no lo veo.
They're so cute.
I like the red.
This is the sound of a toucan.
Like the part of the belly is red.
The second type of toucan.
Not this toucan.
This toucan.
Yeah, there's a red part, red belly. I like it.
All right, this is a macaw, which we all thought was a parrot until I looked at a bird catalog there. And this is a macaw, which we were lucky to see and to see it so close. So there's a little bit of footage of this because I was enamored. This is not all of it, but just enjoy.
When they fly, it's pretty amazing. All the colors just... Isn't that amazing? We're waiting for them to fly off.
I miss them because I don't know where to look.
Oh, you're so pretty.
Another one.
Yeah. Yeah, and they flew down there and then came back up. Oh, there we go. Oh, is he? Oh, I can see this one eating. Ileana, come and look through the... You can see right up at him eating.
Could you send it to me?
Yes,
I
yes.
can bring my phone in the room. Maybe at the dinner, supper.
I can...
Sorry, I'm talking.
Oh, no, you're okay.
I'm really happy now.
I know. I came running from the pool like, wait.
They're so colorful.
I know. And when they
It's
spread
like a
their
rainbow.
wings, when they spread their wings, it's like all the colors are so vibrant.
Here is just some lovely beach. This is at Manuel Antonio at one of their national parks. And the very last footage, you'll see just a little iguana sitting right in front of us on the beach. They were everywhere.
Like, no.
So this is the sweaters that Claudia brought. These are mainly from her book, Memory Lane. They are gorgeous, just embellishments in all these different places that make such a big difference, even if they're minor to the project.
Oversized shirt that had
And finally,
elastic
just a quick
around
clip
the
of
wrist
Andrea
and
teaching
around
the
the neck,
smocking
and
class,
over our school
and then
uniforms,
it's
so
pictures
we
from
get
here.
paint or play on our school uniforms. So, and it's called a smock, or an artist's smock, and that comes from the smocking because that's where it originally came from. So it's been done for a long time on woven fabric.
All right, I hope that was fun to see some of the clips and a few pictures from the trip. We had a blast, can I say? We just had a blast. So, and made some great new friends and people to see all around when we are out and about in the world again. So I wanted to show you one last thing that I forgot, just like a rando thing I'm knitting on. So this was my plain, besides the tank top, this was my plain knitting because I was just knitting in the round until, guess what? I finally made it to the cabling. Hurrah! So this is the Breakwater beach vest. I'll show you a picture of it. It's been a project I haven't really been working on, but there it is. And I'm very excited to be at the cabling. It's been a long time since I've cabled. And actually the sides are seed stitch and then you do this different cabling pattern throughout. Now that I've got the hang of it, I'm rolling pretty good, but it's been a long time since I've done cables, so always a fun thing. The yarn I'm using is Utopia yarn, and we've got it in the online shop here at the mill, and it's very squishable. So US milled yarn, US grown and milled, I should say. So That's what I'm working on when I'm not working on the 18 different things that I'm working on. And for 2025, I've decided this is the year I actually dust off the sewing machine and make a few articles of clothing. So Amy, if you're watching, you and I have more to talk about because Amy also has this on her list of things for this year. And I've already been looking through the email she sent me with ideas of places to go. So anyway, before I go, I just have to mention the state of the United States. And here's what I'm going to say, and this is not something to divide us further, because one thing over the last couple weeks especially, and the last months, I have been disheartened by how much we have become disjointed and disconnected and angry at each other as US citizens. And I do truly believe that the media and social media has done a great job of inciting that anger. And man, I'm tired of it. And I think a lot of us are tired of it. So that's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm here. You voted, you voted, you voted. But some stuff's going awry, right? Some stuff is not feeling good in this country. And I'm going to guess that some people that even voted for Trump maybe didn't vote for Elon Musk, and maybe didn't vote for some of the things, or not seeing some of the things that they were hoping for already in such a short time. It's unsettling, to say the least. And yes, I know this is a podcast about wool and knitting, but I do believe this is a point in our history. Really, this is always the point, but more than ever, this is a point where we don't get to shut our eyes and pretend it's not happening. We don't get to not pay attention, because there are so many people before us that have fought to get this country to where they are, and it's not fair to them and to the future to just pretend like it's not happening or be too sore to pay attention. So I just urge you to pay attention, to read, to be aware, to use good news sources, to get your news from good, reliable places, to be aware and to speak up. And whether that means for you sharing it on social media, maybe it means calling our politicians and saying, what the hell, or saying thank you, especially if you see a politician who maybe you wouldn't necessarily agree with, but doing something that you think feels good for you and is a move forward towards progress in our country. Make the call. So that's all. It's time to speak up, and it's time to come together, I think. So thank you all. I'm done with that for today. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Please check me out on Patreon. Head to the website, get on the newsletter, comment and subscribe below, because I always love to hear from you. And until next time, stay healthy. Be kind to everybody around you. We don't know each other's stories. We don't know what each other is going through. So let's just give each other a little bit of grace in a time that is disconcerting, to say the least. And finally, make so many pretty things, as I will be doing until I see you next. So next week, we should be back to milling up a storm. And I look forward to seeing you then. And I hope to hear from you. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.